everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is the latest transfer update. So this time round, it's very different from the other transfer windows and the other seasons because our season has basically ended like 3 weeks or a full month before the season has actually ended. The transfers are starting to build up already, and everyone is talking about transfers. The journalists are talking about transfers. We're already getting deals done and announcing deals already way before the season has ended, or a couple of weeks before the season has ended. And the targets and the noise start to get loud and all that. So it's going to be a busy transfer window. I'm expecting it to be a busy one. And let's catch up with the latest on our transfers, our incomings and our outgoings and contract situations. We have a lot of that going on. So let's start with Joao Pedro. Now, this one came out a couple of days ago. According to Sambi, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea are all showing interest in Joao Pedro ahead of a possible summer transfer. Arsenal are understood to be long-term admirers, and Telegraph Sport understand they have explored the possibility of signing him in previous seasons. Now, Joao Pedro is a good player. I've been watching him since the Watford days. Now, to be honest, during the Watford days, I used to see him as a bit of a greedy player because I saw him arguing with his teammates a lot of times because he didn't pass the ball. But ever since he moved to Brighton, he's been a really, really good asset for them. He's been really, really banging the goals, getting assists. This season he's had, I think, 10 goals and 7 assists. Last season he had more than 20 goals in all competitions for them. They're also in the Europa League. Brighton. Now, he did score a lot of penalties last season, but hey, you still need to convert your penalties, and those still count as goals. So, Joao Pedro is a good player. The only concern about him recently is the discipline, because they've been saying Arsenal have picked up 6 red cards this season and we have a discipline problem. I don't think that is the case. The red cards we've picked up, I don't think 3 of them are supposed to be red cards. And the one for Saliba against Bournemouth, the Lewis Kelly against West Ham, those ones are just, they're pulling someone back and obvious red card. It's not like someone went and punched someone or someone threw their hands to the referee or someone kicked a bottle and it hit one of the fans. Those are discipline problems. I don't think for us it's discipline problems. We've picked up many red cards, but none of them is like, oh my goodness, what the hell are you doing? Like, you need to keep your head. I don't think any of them is like that. So, but for Joao Pedro, we've seen him getting, a few warnings and a few red cards here and there for, sometimes elbowing a player and all that. But nothing, I don't think it's anything too crazy. It's not like Eric Cantona or Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira kind of situation. I don't think so. So it's a player that you can work with for sure. Now, Would I be happy if is our striker signing the only striker signing? Obviously not. I don't think anyone would be happy with that. Joao Pedro would be a good signing if you've signed someone like a Gyokeres and then you decide to go for, a second striker, someone he plays mostly as a second striker. Sometimes he plays as center forward. He can play left winger. If you get Gyokeres and then you decide to sign someone like a Joao Pedro, now you're talking. I think many people would be happy with that. The two previous players we signed from Brighton, Ben White was a good signing. Trossard was a good signing. Both of them worked out for us. So I have no problem getting players from Brighton. Brighton is a team that Brighton, Ajax, that's those kind of teams. Whenever we get players from that, I feel like it's easier for the players to adapt to our team. Now, this is on our style of players not been like that, but over the last couple of seasons, I feel like, getting players from these particular teams is great. Doesn't really take too much time for them to adapt. So Joao Pedro is the latest, has popped up in the news. So we're not the only ones who would want him, though. Obviously, Liverpool and Chelsea want him as well. Chelsea always want every single player from Brighton, so we definitely understand that one. But not as the main striker. If you sign him as a second striker after you sign someone like a Gyokeres, I'll be happy with that, no problem. Because we do need options. Now, Havertz is back. I've seen people saying, great, sell him. Havertz is not going to be sold. He's going to be here next season. I'm very interested to see which kind of role Havertz is going to play next season. Is he going to be a starter? We already signed a midfielder, which means Rice is a number 8. Is Havertz going to be, even if he's not a starter, whenever he plays, is he going to play as a striker or as a midfielder? How are we going to work that one out? With Kai Havertz and also Mikel Merino, those two, very interested to see which positions they play next season. But I'm a bit under the weather, by the way, so my voice is a bit hoarse. But let's keep going. So let's I think more on on Joao Pedro. Mikel Arteta wants an explosive forward on the left, but that is less of a priority than a striker. And the extent of any deal is dependent on outgoings. Arsenal's interest in Nico Williams has been widely reported. Arteta remains an admirer of Matheus Cunha too, despite Man United widely being seen as near certainties to sign the player. Another option seen as similar to Cunha, however, is Joao Pedro. So there's like two levels of strikers that people are looking at right now, like two levels. There's the one of, Isaac, Gyokeres, Sesko, and then there's the next one where there's Cunha and Joao Pedro. So you wouldn't really sign a Joao Pedro or Cunha and be happy with that as the only transfer business in the forward areas. But if you signed one from tier 1 and one from tier 2, perfect. Tier 2 has a lot of Premier League experience in Joao Pedro and Cunha, and they both score goals, they both have assists, and I think both of them play like Gabriel Jesus, both of them, Cunha and Pedro, but maybe better finishing, better end product. So for me, I'd be happy with any of them as a second signing. But if we sign Joao Pedro and Gyokeres, does that mean you don't sign a winger? Again, I'm not really too sure about that because I want us to get an explosive winger, someone who can take on players numerous times throughout the game, create chances, score goals, basically what Saka and Salah do on the right side. I need someone to do that for us on the left side. So I don't think it's possible, but I'm sure a lot of fans would be very happy if Arsenal signed Gyokeres, Pedro, and a winger that we've been linked to, that tier of wingers, Lookman, Nico Williams. If we went and signed those three categories, then we are really, really cooking and everyone would be very happy. But I'm not sure all three of those would happen. So let's see how what else happens during this window. So that's Joao Pedro. Next up, let's talk about Semenyo, one of the wingers we've been linked to. Arsenal maintain a strong interest in Bournemouth attacker Antoine Semenyo ahead of the transfer window. This is according to Sambi. Now, I did put a poll on all platforms last time, a couple of days ago, and I asked you guys which winger would you prefer at Arsenal from the ones we've been linked to. Now, obviously, names like Leao came up, but I'm talking about the ones, Leao has been mentioned, but I'm talking about the ones we've been really, really linked to, and they've been basically said as mentioned as definite targets. And the question was between Semenyo, also, where is it? Okay, so yeah, on YouTube it's about to go on. I totally forgot about that, but I did ask on Facebook, and a lot of people are saying, a lot of people wanted Lookman and Nico Williams. Those are the top answers. A few mentioned Semenyo, and who's the other one? Rodrigo. A lot of people mentioned Rodrigo as well. I think actually Rodrigo and Lookman are like tied. So there's a poll that is going to come up on YouTube as well. Make sure to vote on that one. Which of the wingers would you prefer between all of those 4-5 wingers we've been linked to? Now, Semenyo, a lot of people have Semenyo as third or fourth on the list. Same with me. I know he has the Premier League experience, but the price is also a thing. Now, if every one of these wingers were the same price, let's say all of them were 70 million, whatever, I would have Rodrigo as the first choice. I'd have Nico Williams I'd have Lookman as the second one, Nico Williams as the third one, and then I'd have potentially Semenyo as the fourth. And then if you threw in like Leao, maybe I'd have Semenyo as the fifth. So Semenyo is not really high on my list, but if you have a striker and you have someone like a Joao Pedro and then the others are not going to join you and then you sign someone like a Semenyo, I'd definitely be happy with that. But he's not like high on my list in terms of getting the wingers that we need. But mostly because of his price, because I've seen they would want like 75, 80 million. So that's the thing. If Semenyo was like 40, 45 million, I'd be talking about us getting him for sure. Good player, has been having a very, very good season for Bournemouth. And one of the reasons why Bournemouth did very well almost the entire season. They've dropped off recently, but remember they've beaten us home and away. There's that as well. So yeah, that's the latest on Semenyo. And he can also take long throw-ins, so there's that too. Gyokeres. Sporting have an agreement in place with Viktor Gyokeres to let him leave for 75 million euros, that is around 60 million pounds, this summer. Hope a bidding war could push that amount higher. However, that is unlikely, with the player already grabbed emotionally, even financially, by Arsenal. So that is great to hear. Not too sure about the source, but this is my first signing. If this, obviously, we've signed Zubimendi already, but when the transfer window opens, this is the guy I'd be going all out for, man. Like, I love Gyokeres. over the last 3 seasons. I said I wanted him before the start of this season, last transfer window, and this season has just convinced me 100% that this is the striker that I want at Arsenal. Is the chances that we get throughout the season, people say it doesn't fit our playing style. No, just put the ball in the back of the net. There's a lot of passes that Odegaard puts through that we miss. There's a lot of good crosses from Saka and Martinelli on both wings that no one is ever at the end of. There's a lot of times where you get one-on-one chance. Not many times, but especially in the Champions League, though, games against Monaco and Shakhtar get so many one-on-one chances and there's no one to finish in. These one-on-one chances have been dropping to different players, sometimes to Odegaard, sometimes to Havertz, sometimes to Jesus, sometimes even to Saka himself, to Martinelli, and almost 90% of them we've missed. So I'm imagining if Gyokeres had, out of those 30 chances, Gyokeres had like 20 of them, we get 10 more goals from that. We know at least a shot on target. So for me, Gyokeres will be my first signing. Let's say it's how it's going to go. I don't think it's only going to be Arsenal who are going to go for him. I'm sure other teams are going to try their hardest as well to sign him, because this is a top striker. If we signed him and challenged, then that would be great. But if you don't get Gyokeres, Sesko is also mentioned over the last 2 years. Benjamin Sesko's release clause has gone up way past the initial £58 million to £75 million, which would still more than fit within Arsenal's budget. The Slovenian fits the club's profile, but is not seen as the finished product. This is according to Miguel Delaney. Now, in terms of the striker position, I don't think we can go again with, this one is for the future. No, that is a position that we now need a proper killer who's been, doing it over the last 3, 4, 5 years in total, maybe even more. You need someone who's going to get a chance and finish them. Every time we've come up against since we've been back in the Champions League, we've been up against some really good teams, Bayern's, PSG's, Real Madrid's, Atalanta's, all these guys, Sporting. You face these teams and you realize how good their forward players are. We never came across Barcelona, but I'm imagining if we played Barcelona, how it would have been. I would have been very interested to see that game, because Barcelona players get chances up front and it's a goal. For us, we're not really used to that. We're not used to players getting 20, 30 goals, and then they have even bench players like Ferran Torres having 20 plus goals. For us, we don't have that. For us, it's a mixture. Havertz has 9 goals this season. Trossard, Martinelli maybe 7, 8, and then there's Odegaard who's not been great this season. Martinelli was not great last season, did not score enough goals. Jesus last season was not great. It's a mixture, it's a mixture of players not performing, not taking their chances, not being consistent enough. So we might have patches, like Martinelli had a 1-month patch recently, very, very good. We had Havertz having a patch sometime last year, very, very good. Trossard at the end of last season, very good patch. Even recently, Trossard has had like 4 or 5 consecutive games where he's done well. Who else? Saka is the most consistent player in our team. But for all the rest of the forward players, even Jesus had a patch in December. He scores a hat-trick and then scores a double here. We have a lot of that. You'd have, 1 month from a player, 2 months from a player, and that is it. We're not consistent enough. I don't think we've had anyone apart from Saka delivering throughout a season, and that is a concern. You need someone who can create and score throughout the season. Now, Benjamin Sesko is the player that we've always wanted since Edu was here. But I'm sure I'm hearing that Andrea Bata wants Gyokeres more, and I agree with him. I want Gyokeres more. We don't know about the ins and outs. We don't know about all the meetings and all that. But again, Sesko is 75 million. If Gyokeres is 60 million, that's another thing. I think one thing they'll also look at is age, because they'll be maybe looking at, the next 3 years, Gyokeres will be 30. The next 3 years, Sesko will still not be probably heading to his prime at that point. But for me, Gyokeres, if you sign Gyokeres and it gives you like 4 or 5 years, that is enough, you can win a lot of trophies during that period. And by the time you get to 2028, 2029, there's going to be other strikers who've popped up that you can end up signing as well. But Sesko, good finisher still. I still like him as a player, but Gyokeres is my first choice. Bukayo Saka is set to become Arsenal's highest earner, with insiders suggesting he will smash clear of the 300k a week barrier when he signs his contract extension. William Saliba will also head towards the 300k a week mark, as I've indicated. So, wow, these two players are going to be paid some hefty money when they sign their new contracts, or if they sign their new contracts. Saka will sign a contract. I expect Saliba to sign one as well. But Saka, I'm 100% confident. Saliba, I'd say 80%. But let's see. 300k a week, I think they deserve it. Saka and Saliba, even Gabriel, they're nowhere near like the highest paid players at Arsenal, which is criminal. At the top, we have, Havertz, Jesus, Thomas Partey's around there, Declan Rice is around there. Even players like Tierney are getting paid more than players like Gabriel, which is not, doesn't make sense. So if you're to ask me our three most important players over the last 3-4 years, obviously it's Saka, Gabriel, and Saliba, and then Rice has joined that group. Odegaard was in that group last season, not so much this season. But yeah, anytime Saliba got injured, if Saliba didn't get injured that season, he probably win the title 2022-23 season, when we went on to concede 3 goals against Brighton, 3 goals against Southampton. That's how much we missed him. I know at the end of the season, he's not finished the season well, Saliba, but 2-3 mistakes over the course of a whole season, I'm happy with that. Still one of our most consistent players, and he needs to stay. I don't want a situation where we sign Gyokeres and Nico Williams and you're very happy, and then you're losing Timber and Saliba. Doesn't make sense. You need to keep most of your team, I want us to have a forward player with the team that we have. I don't want us to have a forward player with other new players defensively and then you start building again. No. So I think they do deserve that 300k a week. My information is that Real Madrid understood at the beginning of May that signing William Saliba this summer was impossible. This is according to Fabrizio Romano. For Arsenal, is a crucial player and they're discussing a new contract. Arsenal will have the ball in their court to close the agreement, keep Saliba at the club and extend his contract. Real Madrid have already signed Dean Hudson as well. So the message is clear. We want to keep Saliba. Hopefully Saliba does want to stay. It's going to be big for us. We need to keep our better players, That's why you cannot afford to just waste time and waste seasons and waste years, If you waste another year, next season you'll start hearing about Timber. It will be the end of his third season. You'll start hearing maybe he's wanted back by another team. Maybe Ajax want him back. You'll start hearing stuff about, Declan Rice being wanted by Barcelona. The more years go without trophies, the more players are going to want to move on and win trophies. So hopefully they do want to stay. Hopefully they're still part of what is going on. And we have to convince them as well. With the transfer window, the players that we sign and all that, we have to make sure that these players feel like, okay, we are serious this time. We've gone for forward players. Let me sign a contract and let's see what we can do for the next 3-4 years. So, yeah. Nuno Tavares. Arsenal expected to start their summer transfer business with the exit of Nuno Tavares, 7 to 8 million. The expectation is that Lazio will activate the loan option to sign him permanently. It was an obligation to buy. I feel like we're getting little money because he's been very good in terms of assists during his Marseille days and Lazio days. But yeah, for Tavares and this guy, Lokonga, Sevilla have practically decided that Sambi Lokonga will not stay at Sevilla next season. The Belgian will return to Arsenal. These two players, but these two particular players, the time we signed them, Arsenal was different from what Arsenal is trying to be right now. At that point, you're just trying to get into the top 5, top 4. We're still a Europa League team at that point. So people usually say we've outgrown Jesus and Zinchenko. Two players that we've definitely outgrown is Lokonga and Tavares. At that point, you looked at them as, okay, good signings, but 2-3 years later, that is not the case. So yeah, we'll talk about these two players in a different video. We've been going for 18 minutes. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.